Everyone, welcome. Today we will be learning about cladograms. Cladograms represent hypothetical evolutionary differences between groups of organisms. We will learn how to read and build a cladogram through a group of an amazing subspecies called Vaccinae unicornis. So let's get right to it. First, what is a cladogram? A cladogram is a tree-like diagram that helps organize relationships between organisms. It helps visualize shared and unshared characteristics within different subspecies. For example, let's look at this image. When looking at this image, we can say that there's an assumption that chimpanzees come from bears, but that is incorrect. When we read a cladogram, we will be reading it from the nodes. For example, if we were to look at this picture, what we would want to see is this point right here called the node, which all that is stating is a hypothetical statement stating that at this point of the evolution of the chimpanzee, it had a common ancestor with a bear. So on and so forth. It's a hypothetical statement stating that there was a potential common amnio ancestor between a chimpanzee and a lizard. It is not stating that a chimpanzee came from a lizard. That is why we never read a cladogram from the top. We always want to read it from the nodes, as we will learn. Now that we know what a cladogram is, we will look at the features of the cladogram. We will start with the node. The node is the point that indicates a hypothetical ancestor. It is this point right here. Then we will move on to the clad. The clad, when I think of a clad, I'm thinking of a group of friends or a group of people who have something similar with me. It's very much the same concept. A and B would be your clad. They are the related groups. The root is the initial ancestor that is common to all groups branching off from it. The outgroup, C, is the outgroup is the more distantly related groups of organisms. It is a reference group when determining the evolutionary relationships. So per se, we have A, B, and C. A will be a square with antennas, B just a square, and C a circle. Because C is the most distinct, we will go ahead and call that the outgroup. Moving on. The way you would read a cladogram is the same way you would read the spot the difference activity or take on the spot the difference activity in a coloring book. If we were to review this image, we would notice a couple differences and a couple similarities. The difference is there's no dots on the butterfly, there's only one leaf instead of two, the sun is missing sun rays, and there are no eyes on the bug. That same concept will be used to read the next. The same concept that we use for spot the difference activity is the same concept that we'll use to read and create this cladogram. So based on what we know about outgroups, we can all look at this and agree that the most distinct species in this slide is the squared with the rounded edges. Then the most similar yet not so different is a square. And hypothetically, I am going to say that the next species would be the square with the antennas, then the triangle eyes, the banana lips, and the diamond nose. So with what we have here, I want to explain that a cladogram, you want to read it from the bottom and not from the top. The reason why is because characteristics can come and go, and you don't want to get confused on the reality of where the connection is for the common ancestors for the different species. So for example, if we were to look at this and ask, who shares a more recent common ancestor with organism D? If it's F or B, we will look at that same concept with time. So from F to D, this is the amount of time that changes have occurred. But if we look at the change from from D to B, they share an older ancestor. So I am going to say that F has a most recent common ancestor with organism D. Now that we've created a cladogram together and read it together, please grab a notebook and a pen and take notes. If you need to, please pause this video and create your own cladogram. I truly believe that this topic of cladograms is a hands-on topic. It's a very visual topic, so reading and taking notes might make it very difficult to understand this topic. So once again, grab a notebook and a pen, take notes, look at the video, look at the differences, and create your own cladogram and compare it to the one I will show you here. Now that you've created your cladogram, please compare your cladogram to the one I've created of the fascinating unicornius subspecies. So this is a very basic cladogram, but I truly believe with cladograms that if we can understand the basics and when they get more detailed and more extensive, then it will be easier to read. So a little curveball on this one was the glittery eyes and the large eyes, so organism D and organism E. So what I want you to understand here is that at this point, organism D and organism E had a common ancestor. If we were to read it from the top, we might miss that assumption because those two characteristics are so different. I also want you to know that still, even though D and E have a common ancestor, organism D still has a common ancestor with F. But E and F, organism E and F, do not have a common ancestor. So that is the biggest take from you creating your own cladogram. Like I said, building cladograms yourself and being really hands-on with this topic is key to succeeding in this part of the class. So I really hope my video helped, and way to go cladograms. They're so fun. Enjoy them. Bye. Thanks for watching.